What? Okay, I know you're scared. It's just wind. Hi, my name's Kelly and welcome to my channel. So today I decided to make a video about 10 of my favorite Christian nonfiction books. Obviously this is not going to be an extensive list. I just decided to limit myself to 10 because otherwise we would be here for days. So I want to apologize ahead of time if you hear noise in the background. There's insane wind outside. Insane wind. It's crazy. And then also there's a wood chipper about half a block away, but boy, they be loud. So if you hear that, my apologies. But I want to make this video, so I'm going to do it, whether they're going to be quiet out there or not. Also, you may see Olympia in the video. She's scared of the wind, and so if she pokes her head in every once in a while, you know, just say hi. The first book that I want to talk about is, of course, the Bible. If you're going to read a Christian nonfiction, that's where to start. You know, it can be very intimidating because it is such a big book. However, I don't want to just say, oh, the Bible, and then move on. I actually was thinking that I could tell you guys a couple of my favorites in the Bible, favorite books in the Bible. First one is Psalms. I think that Psalms is a great book to read. It's beautiful. It talks about depression. It talks about anxiety. It talks about struggling and then always turning back to God, and the beauty in the way that these songs are written. And it's just such an encouraging book to go to because it always turns things around and looks to God and sees how wonderful He is. The other book I want to talk about is Proverbs. I say the other like that's the only one. No. Anyway, so Proverbs, so much wisdom. So much wisdom. Honestly, I can read Proverbs and be like, oh yeah, that should be how I am handling situations, not the way I did earlier today or whatever. I definitely love Proverbs. The Gospels. So reminder that the gospel is just one word that means the good news, and that's the good news about Jesus and what He did. I can't choose just one of them. I cannot choose between Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. They are all so good. They approach the story of Jesus in different ways and give us different points of view on it, but at the same time they're still all cohesive. And I love reading through the scripture through Jesus' words. I also love the book of Acts. I love seeing how the church began, the way that people's lives were changed by it. It's so awesome to see how everybody, the followers of Christ, came together and how they were there for each other and people's lives were changed, and it was just awesome. I also love the book of Romans. My goodness, if you want a book that's going to explain the gospel and how Christian living should look like, faith, that's such a great place to start. Such a great place to start. I could sit in Romans for probably an entire year just by itself with how rich that book is. I also really love the book of James. I love how just straightforward he is. He don't do this, do that. I love it. And he is really quick to be like, yeah, you're struggling. Jesus said we would, and that's why we should look at it like this. So those are some of my favorite books in the Bible. The next one I want to talk about is The Case for Christ by Lee Strobel. I love this book. I am the kind of person that I want to know why I believe what I believe, and I dive in, and if there's not foundation to what I believe, then it's gonna fall out from under me. And Case for Christ is a great way to build some more of that foundation for yourself, because he approaches things in a logical mindset. He was actually trying to disprove God. And as an investigative reporter, he dove into Jesus the same way that he would dive into any piece that he was writing, and he was looking for the evidence. And it's so good. I'm actually reading through it again right now with my kids. They really love it. My daughter is just always talking about how the information given in here is giving her confidence to have conversations with people and confidence in her faith. And such a good book. And in the same vein as this is More Than a Carpenter by Josh McDowell. So good. Absolutely amazing. Same thing. He went to disprove God, ended up proving him instead. And he actually was in law school, I believe, and approached it with a lawyer mindset. Once again, looking for the evidence, and really great. I would definitely suggest reading one, if not both of these. So good. So the next one I want to talk about is Not a Fan by Kyle Idleman. So I was in a class at my church this past year, and we had to read certain books, and this was the first one that they had us read, and man, I loved it. So it's all about, the difference between being a fan of Jesus and being a follower of him. Holy cow, this book will step on your toes, but in such a good way. Such a good way. I absolutely loved this book. I definitely recommend reading it. It's so good. It makes you look at your own faith and really dissect it, and shows you how to move forward in growing your faith and being not just a fan, but a true follower of Christ. Another book is So What's the Difference by Fritz. I'm going to mispronounce this. I do not know French. Ridenour. Anyhow, so this is a look at different major religions around the world and how they compare and contrast with Christianity. I read this book when I was in college getting my missions degree, and it's so good. It's so good. It really helped me to understand some of the other religions better. It helped me to approach conversations with more understanding of where the person on the other side of that conversation was at and what they believed. And also, while I was in college, I was doing my own research on other religions. Like I said before, I didn't want to just believe something because someone told me to. I wanted to make sure that what I believed was the right thing to believe. This book also helped a lot with that. And I think that anybody should, this is a book that would be a great read for anybody, Christian or not. Like, just being able to understand where other people are coming from when they're talking about their own religions. Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis. I love this. I'm going to say that about all of these. You're going to hear the word love a lot. So it is so easy to get caught up in the little minuscule differences between denominations that are under the umbrella of Christianity. And unfortunately, that has caused a lot of division in the body of Christ. And it's heartbreaking to see. So I love Mere Christianity because C.S. Lewis takes away all of the small little things and says, here's what Christianity as a whole should look like. Let's not focus on the tiny little things. Let's focus on the big picture. Please read it. Prayer compilation of things written by A.W. Tozer, and it's compiled by W.L. Seaver. You guys have heard me talk about this recently. It was so good. So good. And it talks about how our prayer life as Christians should look. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Once again, it'll step on your toes, but in a good way, in a great way. Please read this. Tozer has such amazing insight as to what prayer should look like. And honestly, Seaver's commentary and application sections just round it out amazingly. So give this one a shot, please. Another one that I really like is Anything by Jennie Allen. I said her name really weird just there. Jennie Allen. She was in a situation where she had read a book and she was just so moved by it that she prayed, okay, God, anything you want me to do, anything, I'll do it. And she talks about how anything's a big word and you're unlocking a lot. So, and she just talks about how much things changed for her life and how we can expect things to change in our own life when we're willing to say, okay, God, anything. It's so good. It's so good. I've read this probably 2 or 3 times. It's so good. All right. I'm reading this book with my kids right now. And The Word Came with Power by Joanne Shetler. This book was given to me as a gift, not an assigned reading assignment. That was redundant. Anyway, so as a gift in college. And I never got around to reading it. I am so sorry, Sister Bannister. Anyway, so then for my kids' schooling, this was one of the suggested books. And I said, oh my goodness, I have that book. I can finally read it too, instead of putting it off. You guys, I read this out loud with my kids. I have cried so many times while trying to read out loud, and I'm not saying like a tear trickle. I mean, I'm sobbing to the point where multiple times my kids have asked me, do you want us to read? And there have been a couple of times that I've had one of them read because I just could not emotionally handle what was going on. Just the way that these people in the Philippines come to know God more and the struggles that they go through, but how they turn to Him. And the relationship that they build with God is so beautiful, and the trust that they have in Him. Oh my goodness, the trust to be able to walk away from these things that are threatening you and causing your life to be miserable, and instead to say, no, I trust in God. It's so beautiful. So beautiful. Please check this out. Joanne Shetler is actually the missionary that went to these Filipinos. And why do I keep saying words weird? She went to these Filipinos, the Balangaos, and just please read this. It's a beautiful story about faith and putting your trust in God and like really putting your trust in Him. Give it a shot, guys. It's absolutely beautiful. We're still not fully through, but I already know that it's one of my favorite books ever. Just be prepared. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you guys aren't as emotional as I am, but I cry a lot. So, but check it out, please. And then the last book I want to mention is The Power of a Praying Wife by Stormie Omartian. I don't have that book with me. I believe I gave it to my sister when she got married. But this book was given to me when I got married, and so glad it was. So glad it was, because no marriage is easy. Every marriage is going to have its hard times. It's going to look different for each couple, but every marriage is going to have its hard times. And as someone who was the wife of an active duty soldier, we definitely had our hard times. And this book helped me to, one, remember in those moments when I was angry or frustrated or downtrodden or just felt beaten down, who my real enemy was and how I could battle it, and the power that is in prayer. If you are a wife or preparing to be a wife, please read this book. It helped me in my marriage so much. Anyhow, that's the 10 books I have for you guys that are my favorite nonfictions, some of them. If you'd like to see more of my favorites, let me know. If you've read any of these, please let me know your thoughts. If you have any recommendations, please let me know those, because I love recommendations. I hope you guys have an amazing day,